I go back and forth between hating and loving. Today I woke up from a dream. It felt so real to me, like I was walking through the clouds, and you had told me to tone it down. Well, if we disagree on what's important.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Team Self-Love Podcast, a show about discovering your self-worth and learning to love yourself because you're worth it. I'm your host, Lindsay Taylor Mitchell, and we are back with season 2. We took a bit of a break just because I had school and everything, just catch everybody up. I had school and I had films and everything, so I was a bit busy, and I also model, so I was modeling as well. And a bit of news, the Bliss movie will be out, the movie that I starred in will be out at the end of June. It'll premiere in Los Angeles. I'm not sure of the location yet, but I'll keep everybody up to date with that. Also, our producer Ernie had a baby, a little boy named Alex, so it's really exciting. So lots been happening since we stopped filming for a bit, but we are back and just really excited to be back and to be recording and to be reminding everybody that self-love is important and it's worth it, and we can take good steps to learn to love yourself. And just a little side note, the other day I was thinking, and I thought about this, and I said, sometimes self-love is a little bit of both, though. It's a little bit of, eating a lot of Cheetos and not exercising for a bit and learning to be happy and alone. And then the other half of it is doing the things that are difficult for yourself and pushing yourself to become a better person, and stressing a little bit about life and whatnot, but I think it's about balance. And I just thought that was really important and a little fun little thought I had the other day. And I was like, hell yeah, sometimes it's about eating Cheetos and loving yourself, and sometimes it's about eating vegetables because, you need vegetables. So, but about balance, actually, today I'm going to be talking about yoga and the benefits of yoga. Personally, I started practicing yoga maybe 2013, but I didn't really understand what yoga was about and the importance of yoga and why I was kind of doing yoga wrong, which I think is an interesting topic. And I think that people don't realize that there's a Western ideology of yoga versus Eastern. And so I want to talk about that a little bit as well. With Western yoga, people see it more as a sport or a way to work out and sweat. If you think about different yoga places like hot yoga, and you push yourself to sometimes unhealthy measures, and you can hurt yourself, and it turns into this thing where it can be very expensive. Some studios do cost a great sum of money. There was one that I was looking at one time before, and it was probably $45 a month or something like that. It can be quite costly, and also the yoga wear, like the pants and the bras, can be very expensive, and it can be capitalized on. And I think it's important to realize that the reason why people do yoga is not because it's a sport. And if you want to work out and use yoga, then okay. But I think being smart about it and working on, why you want to do yoga and why it's important for yourself and the benefits of yoga without it being this thing where you hurt yourself. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the benefits of yoga. So first of all, it's really good for you in the sense of your spine. I think that it's a great way in the morning for you to wake up. If you feel really stiff throughout the day, what a great thing to do is just do a little bit of yoga. Just do a little bit of cat and cow, which is when you get on 4 knees and then you look up. That is cow, and then you have your back sort of at an arch. And for those who are just listening, I kind of went and made a U shape, and then the opposite way is cat, so or like a hump almost, and like that, and you sort of move your spine that way on all fours, and that can be a great way to sort of stretch your spine and sort of get your spine more aligned and everything, because later on in life that is a huge problem for people. When you see a lot of old people, they're very hunched over, and So that's one of the great benefits, is helping your spine. Another great benefit is for your digestive system, actually. They say that chakras, which is actually how you pronounce it. So, chakras, they're really good for you, in the sense that they can specifically pinpoint different parts of your system that you need to work on. So there are a lot of, for example, with your stomach region, there are a lot of twists, and that work that chakra in order for you to help your digestive system. And then also, just your system in general, if you go into child's pose, or if you hold your legs, like you sort of like tuck your legs in your knees into your chest, like a baby almost, that can actually help with digestion or trying to get out gas. So if you're gassy or constipated, you can do that as well. And so, yeah. So, and then also another reason why yoga is great is that actually it helps your glands, and it can help with the clearing out your glands. Your pituitary gland, different types of glands that you have. Well, especially because of not only the movement and the exercise, but the breathing actually helps you clear out your system, which is really awesome. It's also shown that when you do yoga, it improves your flexibility. I can personally vouch for this because I, for a year straight, took a very extensive yoga program at my community college, and I have never been able to touch my toes ever. I think I'm pretty flexible, but I've never, it kills me. Like, I can't stretch like that at all. And now I can't, which I wish I could. Then I want to get back into yoga so I can actually touch my toes. But we did these tests at the beginning of the yoga class, and I could not touch my toes at all. Like, I just sit there with my legs out, and I could, I didn't even like move my arms because it just hurt so badly. But at the end, I was actually able to stretch my hands past my toes, like at the middle point of my hand, like my palm almost past my toes, which is phenomenal because I'm not flexible. And so you really can see the difference when you start to practice, and making a daily practice. And it doesn't even have to be a lot. It could be just in the morning, like 5 minutes of just a little bit of stretching and movement. It also builds muscle strength and can help you with joints. And this is another reason why I believe in like Eastern ideology of yoga, because a lot of times in Western, classes, when they push you, you're not so concentrated on your form and making sure that your joints are lined up and correctly. And usually a lot of times there are a lot of people in the classes, so you can't pay attention to, you're pushing too hard down on your wrists and you're hurting yourself. It's important to have good form. And in doing so, that's slow movement, but then also the stationary movement of poses can actually help build muscles and can help joints, because the stronger your muscles are, the better your joints will be. Yeah, so little fun fact. Also, another reason, many reasons clearly, why you should do yoga is, I think one of the hugest things for me personally was learning to be more present and being more in the moment, which is another benefit of meditation. But also, I think we are so prone to speed things up, want to like finish and get done with a thing and do the thing and be done. And instead of just enjoying the process and enjoying where we are in this current step. And so doing yoga, doing poses, they say focus on the pose, focus on the movement. Don't think about what is happening next. Be present, be in the pose. And I think that can really clear your mind and also just help you learn to be more patient and to be more present, which I think in our society, especially with the modern times with technology and whatnot, we're so go, and we're not very good at being present and being in the moment. So another thing is that it can help your blood flow. It can up your heart rate. Obviously, you're doing exercise of some form, so and it regulates your glands, like I said. And they do find that it does make you happier, which I think is really awesome. I was on social media, and I saw a article about how it actually can help with depression, because what it's doing is like meditation. It can help you understand your thought process, but then that exercise releases dopamine, and it does help you with with feeling better about yourself, and helping your brain produce the correct chemicals, because depression, like I've said before in another podcast, is not something you just decide. You can't just decide to be happy. It's a chemical problem within your brain. And so, but it can definitely help you. And it also can help you eat better as well, which I think is really awesome. I think when you exercise, you eat better, but there are a lot of facts that say that yoga does help people learn to eat, not learn to eat better, but want to eat better, have the desire to eat better, which I've seen personally within myself. When I did practice yoga, I was at my final form, so to say. I was definitely eating plant-based. I didn't want to eat animals. I just felt healthier and I felt better about everything. So, and I wanted to eat, more vegetables. I want to eat healthier. I want to eat fruit. I wanted to put things in my body that my body needed and my body wanted, because I was doing things for my body. They say also it's a part of self-care, and it can also help you have a sense of community, which I think is important. And so now that you're convinced you want to do yoga, because all those benefits are so great, I think it's important to talk about like the steps in order to start. And I think it's quite easy to start. I don't think that you need to necessarily spend all this money and go to look Lululemon and go spend, I don't know, like $50 on pants and stuff like that. If you have any sort of workout clothes, that is deemable. Making sure you have water. The only thing I would say that you do need to spend a bit of money on would be a mat, but usually those are around like $20 at Target, or anywhere really. So they're not too expensive, and I know that you could find one probably pretty cheap. So that's part of it. There are a multiple number of apps that you could use if you want to get started. Obviously, yeah, because studios are very expensive and I wouldn't recommend it. And I think that you can do it at home and that's perfectly fine. I think that your practice is for you. And I think it's important to understand that it's not a sport. It's not a competition. It's something that you're doing to help better yourself, and it's a practice, and they call it a practice because you're practicing. You're never going to have a performance. You're never going to have like a final game or anything like that. It's about learning to do better for yourself and practicing for yourself. And one of the first things my yoga teacher, who I absolutely love, her name's Ashley, she said, one of our first classes, she said, you are new to yoga, that you are new to this process. Take advantage of the fact that you are new. And I think about that a lot in many other senses, but in the sense of yoga, you're new if you're going to start, and be patient with yourself, and be compassionate with yourself of, I'm trying this new thing, I'm getting out of my comfort zone, and I may not be the best right now, but I can work on it. So yeah, there are a number of different apps. For example, there is yoga.com, Studio Pocket Yoga, Global Yoga Academy, 5-Minute Yoga, FitStar Yoga, Daily Yoga. You can also just look up online. There are a number of tutorials on YouTube. I've seen like couple yoga, stuff like that. Couples do yoga. But downward dog, upward dog, shavasana, which is the best because you just lie down and basically sleep. And who doesn't love that? Just lotus pose, like just the very simple poses to sort of get you started. And at least if you're, not moving at all, to just sort of get your body moving and get your blood pumping and whatnot. So another thing you could do is you can find free yoga throughout your community. Usually you can go online and look up yoga like yoga near me. I know in Huntington Beach, they do, if you're local to Orange County, they do have yoga, and it's Fridays through Mondays in the morning at 10 a.m. It's at Pier 39. And so what they do is they just have it, and it's free, and you can make a donation. There are classes, obviously, that you can take at a studio, like I've said before, or you can take them at your local gym. They do have those classes as well. Or you can get a friend, find a yogi, and say, like, I want to learn. And I remember one time I taught my friend Evan, who was on this podcast before, and we went to a park, and I kind of showed him sort of the beginning parts of yoga that I've learned. There's different ways that you can learn, and I think just having any sort of practice is really good for you. When I personally did it in the mornings, when I had a routine, which I want to get back to, I'm just trying to think. I did a cat and cow, and then I did like a back arch part. It's like when you go on the floor and you do lotus, and then I would do upward dog, downward dog, chaturanga dandasana, which is when you like sort of do a plank and then you go down into upward dog and then down to downward dog. And then I lift my legs a little bit, and I would do a little bit of child's pose and sort of get my body moving and sort of move my arms up to the side, sort of like a fluid motion, just to sort of get my body moving. And I mean, people do in the morning like calisthenics, and they do stretches and stuff like that. But it's just a fun way that you can sort of mix up your routine. I would say if you're going to do yoga, focus on being present and breathing and slowly moving. I think it's almost like Tai Chi, where you have your movements be slow and sort of like water, and move like water, and move from each pose with sort of a grace. You can also look up different poses for different chakras. So like, let's say you want to work on your feet, your base. You feel like you're out of balance, you feel like you need to work on that, then there are specific poses for that. You feel like you need to open your heart more, you feel like you need to learn how to be more vulnerable. You can also work on opening your body. There are multiple studies that show that actually how you present yourself with your body, how you move your body, how you hold yourself up, your body posture can influence your mood. And even just sort of walking with your head up instead of down can really change your mood. And so yoga poses sort of do that for you, in the sense of learning to open up, opening up your chest, and then learning how to accept things more that way. There are also poses for balance, which I think is really awesome. And so you can learn like tree pose. That's a heater of a one. I love that pose. I like to do the balance poses. They're really cool. And so you can learn how to, be more balanced, and that can help with like life in general. The community, people make fun of yogis sometimes, and they say like, oh, they're so spiritual and they're so funny. And in the sense of, they're so out there, and they act like they're so spiritual and so much better than everybody else. But I think it's just this loving community that, recognizes the strength and the wonders in other people. And so I really appreciate yogis and yogis and how they interact and how they are as people. And I think within that, they practice a lot of self-love and self-compassion. They never try to hurt themselves or push themselves more than what they can do. And I think it's important to know when you are practicing yoga, if you're going to do it, what is pushing yourself and what is hurting. And I think that maybe you can try, when you get more into your practice, maybe you want to try doing like crow pose, which is more of a pose where you lift your legs up, and you want to try it. Well, make sure that you're not doing something that does hurt yourself or pull a joint or anything like that. I think that's important to recognize as well. It also helps you sleep deeper, which does make sense because you're exercising. Stimulation is good, but too much is it taxes on the nervous system. This is yogajournal.com, by the way. Yoga can provide relief from the hustle and bustle of modern life. Restorative asana, yoga nidra, which is a form of guided relaxation. Pranayama, which is like movement yoga, which is breathing yoga, can turn inward of the senses, which provides downtime to the nervous system. There are so many different types of yoga as well, which I want to talk a little bit about. Pranayama, which that is like the breathing to movement, which is the one that I mostly practiced. So you do this specific breathing, which is Ujjayi breath, which is lion's breath, and you sort of breathe. It's hard to explain. I guess you can listen to me. This is now an ASMR podcast. You just go. So what it's doing is you're closing your mouth and you are breathing in through your nostrils. And what it does is it sort of sounds like an ocean. And it's actually stimulating a different part of your system. And so with breathing that way, you can actually breathe longer. And so when you do pose, for example, you go into the pose breathing in, and then when you move from the pose, you breathe out. So like, let's say that you're, I don't know, when you do cow, you'd breathe in, and then you go to cat and you breathe out. Or when you go into downward dog, you breathe in, and then when you, in the pose, you breathe out, for example. And so there's different types. Yin Yoga is also another yoga. Yin Yoga, I believe, is the one that is more for relaxation, and so that is actually very much used when you are pregnant. It's like a very chill yoga. It's poses that are 45 seconds long, which is pretty long, but it's more of like child's pose and simple postures in order for you to get a deeper stretch. Those are less about, a workout per se, but more just trying to get your body relaxed and balanced. And Yin Yoga, I went to a studio one time and I did a Yin Yoga practice, and I saw a lot of pregnant women there, because it's good for women to, like, when they're pregnant, to stretch and everything like that. And it's a sort of relaxed, simple thing that you can do to move your body without stressing your body. So that's definitely something you can look into as well. But I would say, just sort of get into this mindset of, I want to try something new. If you're having a hard time, having a rough day, and you have some time and you think like, what could I do right now? Maybe you could do a little bit of yoga, and push yourself to try something new, because it could cheer you up and it can make you really happy, and you could find a sense of community within the yogis. There are a lot of forums, there's a lot of communities online, which I think is such a benefit of us having the internet in this day and age. So I would say just look up, different tutorials on yoga. And if you guys like and whatnot, I can actually do one for you later. We can always film and I could show you like a routine or something like that. I would be okay doing that. I never got a teaching degree in yoga. Although they do offer it at Orange Coast College. They offer the degree to teach yoga, but I never took it. So, but I have learned a little bit, and so the idea was that I was fully prepared to show somebody a few poses, or I could do a practice on my own. And so, just push yourself to do a little bit something different this week. Maybe yoga, maybe something else, just get out of your comfort zone this week, really take care of yourself this week. I think that, now that we're back for season 2 of the podcast, I'm going to be pushing people, and I'm going to be saying, love yourself, damn it, because it's important and the time is now. So and just a quick update, you can find the old podcasts, previous episodes on teamselflove.com. They're also on Podbean, www.podbean.com/teamselflove. They're also going to be on SoundCloud, and this week currently I will be working on getting them on iTunes. So the podcast will be everywhere, also on YouTube. So you can definitely check those out as well. You can definitely check out the Facebook page, facebook.com/teamselflove2 if you like. We're also back on Instagram. It's _teamselflove_. So if you want to check that out, you can as well. I'll be posting just like little happy self-love comments, and then sometimes pictures of the recordings of guests and whatnot. In the future, we will have hopefully a friend and director of mine, Adam Von Carr, and he'll be talking about self-deprecation and how in our generation we can be self-deprecating, but then also why maybe self-deprecation can be good. We'll see. You'll see. And then also I'll have a friend on, Marissa, who'll be talking about self-compassion and why it's important and how you can actually learn to be compassionate for yourself. So just sort of to keep in mind for this season. As always, you can always leave comments, and you can always leave questions down below or any suggestions in any of the comment sections in any of the platforms, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, on something you'd like to see, something you feel like is important with self-love. And thank you so much to Ernie for producing the podcast. Just a little reminder, once again, you are worthy of love, acceptance, and happiness. And I love you, but most importantly, you love you. Thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate it. And I look forward to having you guys give comments and whatnot. And I'll see you guys in the next episode. Okay, thanks. Bye.
What's important to you or me? I will try soon to come down from my non-reality.
You're getting a blue glare from your screen. Can you dim the screen a little bit?
Oh, yeah.